Now you will hear the story of hat hooks, chandeliers, private pews, and royal plaques in the church, but first a little about the church building itself. Here on both sides of the organ, you can see the church's oldest walls from around 1300. At that time, the church was not so large, but there were not so many people on Rømø either. The church was enlarged in several stages and was completed as it stands today in 1751. In the centuries that followed, the church needed money for maintenance, so the islanders were given the opportunity to buy their own pews, which many of the wealthier sailors did. That is why you can see many names on the backs of the pews. For example, H.P.P. MØLLER sat here with his family. He was a captain who specialized in fast sailing with fruit from Sicily to northern Europe. He married Kiersten Mærsk, a girl from Rømø. Their child and grandchild together founded what became the world's leading container shipping company. But that is another story which you can learn about at the memorial stone for the family in the churchyard. Directly opposite the pulpit is a very distinguished pew. This is where one of the island's leading figures, the enterprising and wealthy sailor Kiersten Mærsk, and his family sat. Just above the pew, Mr. Mærsk could hang his top hat on the hat hook, which he had made from wrought iron and engraved with his initials. Others also had hat hooks made at the end of the 18th century, when the island's population was growing. On the one hand, it was practical to make room for the top hats that sailors wore when they attended church services in the crowded church during the winter months. On the other hand, they could show off their status and wealth. Today, 15 hat hooks hang from the church's low ceiling. In the 18th century, there were many more. A priest from that time said that when he stood in the pulpit, it could be difficult to see the congregation for all the hats. Kiersten Mærsk also had one of the hat hooks made, which is attached to the end of a church pew. The hat hook itself is a reindeer antler that he had brought home from one of his voyages. Every now and then, the sailors brought gifts home to the church. For example, there are 3 beautiful chandeliers from the 1700s hanging in the nave of the church. They reflect the wealth that existed on Rømø at that time. Over the years, the nation, and thus also the royal family, has played an important role for many residents of Rømø. In the church, there are 2 royal plaques commemorating royal visits. In 1832, King Frederick VI and Prince Frederick Christian visited the church. The year after the reunification, King Christian X and Queen Alexandrine visited Rømø in 1921. The church's second royal plaque was hung after King Frederick IX and Queen Ingrid's visit in 1949, the year after the inauguration of the dam to the mainland. There have been many distinguished visitors to the church, and fortunately, it remains a church where there is room for everyone.